Did you know pajamas, now your cozy nighttime companion, were once daily wear for farmers and nobles in ancient India? Over 1,000 years ago, these loose cotton trousers, woven on simple looms, clothed entire villages, not just beds. This cozy history story traces their quiet journey, from hand-spun threads in the Indus Valley to Victorian flannel sets and modern bamboo loungewear. Every stitch, dye, and trade route unfolds in soothing detail, perfect for drifting off. Settle in, relax, and let this long, cozy tale of pajamas carry you to sleep. Like and subscribe to stay with us. The history of pajamas is a long, meticulous record of textile craftsmanship, trade networks, and cultural adaptations spanning over 1,000 years. It begins in the Indian subcontinent, where the term pajama, pijamu, emerged, likely in the 10th century. The word, rooted in Persian, combines pay, meaning leg, and jama, meaning clothing, describing loose trousers woven from cotton. Cotton was grown in the fertile soils of the Indus and Ganges river valleys, where farmers harvested bolls by hand in the dry season. The fibers were ginned using wooden rollers, a slow task requiring 2 hours per pound of raw cotton. Spinners used chakar wheels made of sandalwood or teak to twist fibers into fine threads. These threads were woven on hand looms constructed from bamboo or mango wood, producing lightweight fabrics suited for India's humid climate. By the 11th century, pajamas were worn across regions like Punjab, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, and Bengal, paired with kurta tunics, tied at the waist with a cotton drawstring. Weavers worked in village courtyards, their looms clacking steadily from dawn to dusk. A single pair of pajamas took 3 days to weave, using 200 count cotton threads. Dyes were made from plants, indigo leaves for deep blues, turmeric roots for pale yellows, madder roots for earthy reds. A 12th century Chola dynasty record lists pajamas sold in markets alongside brass lamps and rice sacks. Mughal ledgers from 1526 note Delhi weavers producing 5,000 cotton garments monthly, with 10% exported to Persia via camel caravans. Pajamas were practical, allowing air to circulate around the legs, ideal for farmers planting rice or merchants weighing spices. In Gujarat, weavers used block printing, carving wooden stamps with geometric or floral patterns. Bengal produced jamdani muslin, embedding floral motifs into the fabric, a technique requiring weeks per yard. A 13th century tax record from the Delhi Sultanate lists cotton garments as trade goods, with weavers paying 3 rupees annually. Women embroidered pajama hems with cotton thread, using bone needles sharpened on river stones. Dyes were boiled in clay pots with alum mordants, as described in a 1400s Mughal manual. Pajamas were worn for daily tasks, grinding wheat, fetching water, or attending temple prayers. Their loose fit, easing movement. Markets in Surat exported 7,000 cotton bolts yearly by 1450, with pajamas a key item. Textile production was a family craft. In Punjab, households maintained looms, with children carding cotton and elders weaving. A 14th century Jain text notes Ahmedabad weavers selling 600 pairs monthly. Pajamas varied by region. Bengal's were long and flowing. Rajasthan's ended at the calf. Madhya Pradesh's used thicker weaves for durability. Dyes like pomegranate rind created muted pinks, applied over days in iron vats. A 1500s Vijayanagara record lists pajamas taxed at 1.5 rupees per pair. Weavers used hand-spun threads, ensuring strength for fieldwork. By the 16th century, Agra markets sold 4,000 pairs yearly, dyed in saffron or henna shades. Cotton's breathability reduced sweat, as noted in a 1550s trade manual. The Mughal Empire refined pajama production. Emperor Akbar's court, from 1556, standardized weaving, with guilds in Lahore producing 3,000 yards monthly. Muslin from Dhaka, weighing 6 ounces per yard, was prized across Asia. A 1570 trade log notes 2,000 muslin bolts shipped to Samarkand, priced at 5 rupees each. Weavers used bamboo combs to align threads, ensuring even texture. Pajamas for nobles had silk linings, sewn with silver needles. Village weavers sold coarser versions at 1 rupee, used for labor like milling grain. A 1580s Mughal tax record lists 10,000 cotton garments exported annually, with pajamas comprising 20%. Chinese silk influenced Indian pajamas by the 14th century. Silk threads, imported via the Silk Road, were woven into luxury versions in Agora. A 1,350 trade record notes 1,000 silk bolts from Hangzhou, costing 10 rupees per yard. Weavers blended silk with cotton, creating hybrid fabrics weighing 8 ounces per yard. These were dyed in vats with walnut shells, producing brown tones. A 1400s merchant's log describes silk pajamas sold in Delhi for 3 rupees, worn by court officials. The silk trade grew, with 5,000 bolts imported yearly by 1500 per Persian records. Indian weavers adapted Chinese techniques, using finer looms for smoother fabrics. Loose trousers predate India, appearing in Central Asia around 1500 BCE. Nomadic tribes, like the Scythians in modern Kazakhstan, wore them for horseback riding. Made of wool or early cotton, these pants had thick seams sewn with sinew thread. A 2014 Yanghai, China, excavation found 3,500-year-old trousers with woven chevron patterns, tied with hemp cords, weighing 2.5 pounds. By the 8th century BCE, Persian nobles in the Achaemenid Empire used silk trousers imported from China. Persepolis reliefs show officials in loose pants, dyed with saffron or ochre, worn during tax ceremonies. Weavers in Susa used foot-powered looms, producing 1,500 yards of silk monthly by 600 BCE. Persian markets in Shiraz sold cotton trousers by the 9th century, priced at 1.5 dirhams per pair. A 930 CE ledger notes 2,000 cotton pieces shipped to Baghdad. Women in Persian courts wore layered versions, embroidered with silver thread, as noted in a 960 CE text by Al-Tabari. Dyes used walnut shells for browns, or cochineal insects for reds, mixed in clay vats. Silk Road trade spread these garments to India, where weavers adopted Persian dyeing, using alum to fix colors. By the 11th century, Isfahan markets sold 3,000 cotton trousers yearly, exported to Samarkand at 2 dirhams each. Persian tailors reinforced drawstrings with linen cords, ensuring durability. In the Ottoman Empire, by the 13th century, shalvar pants were standard. Men wore cotton shalvar for labor, while women in harems chose silk dyed with indigo or madder. A 1370 Istanbul record lists 9,000 shalvar sold annually, taxed at 1.5 akshay per unit. Bursa weavers produced 700 yards of cotton weekly, using hand looms. Paintings from 1420 show clerks in shalvar, paired with tunics during tax audits. Trade with India via Damascus introduced muslin by 1450, blending styles with triple-stitched seams. A 1480 merchant's log notes 4,000 cotton shalvar, shipped to Cairo, dyed in olive green. Weavers used wooden combs, aligning threads for smooth texture. Ottoman guilds in Ankara oversaw 600 weavers, each producing 12 pairs weekly. Dyes were mixed in stone vats with recipes in a 1430s manual. Silk shalvar cost 6 akçe, cotton versions 1 akçe. By 1550, Ottoman ports exported 12,000 shalvar yearly, influencing Indian pajamas with reinforced hems. A 1560 travelogue by Venetian trader Antonio Pigafetta describes shalvar as suited for warm climates, worn during council meetings. Weavers in Izmir dyed fabrics with oak galls, producing black tones. Guilds enforced quality, fining weavers 2 akçe for uneven stitches per a 1500s record. Europeans encountered pajamas in the 16th century via Indian trade. Portuguese merchants in Goa around 1515 noted cotton leg coverings, import logs, lighter than wool breeches. By the 1600s, the British East India Company in Surat supplied pajamas to colonial officials. Called Mogul's breeches, they used muslin or Chinese silk, priced at £2.80 in 1660. A 1670 journal by merchant John Evelyn describes wearing them in Bombay for cool repose. Trade records show 22,000 cotton bolts shipped to London by 1680, with 15% tailored into lounge pants. Madras tailors added cuffs using brass buttons from Birmingham, costing 1 shilling each. Colonial women wore pajamas privately under skirts. A 1690 letter from missionary Anne Harris in Calcutta mentions sewing cotton pairs for humid nights. Cotton reduced rashes, per a 1695 medical text by Thomas Sydenham. London importers sold muslin at £1 15 shillings per yard by 1700, with Bristol tailors producing 400 pairs monthly. Ship manifests from 1720 list 800 pajamas to Boston packed in oak crates. Lancashire weavers copied Indian techniques, producing 7,000 yards of cotton weekly by 1725. A 1718 trade law capped cotton duties at 10%, boosting imports. Tailors in Liverpool sewed 300 pairs monthly using iron shears. In the 18th century, pajamas were a luxury in Europe. British nobles, like the Duke of Norfolk, wore silk versions in private per a 1740 diary. These cost £50, her artisan's yearly wage. Manchester mills produced 15,000 yards of cotton daily by 1770, mimicking Indian weaves. A 1780 London Gazette ad lists cotton pajamas at £1.30, sold in Cheapside. Weavers used water-powered looms, tripling output by 1785. Dyes like logwood created grey tones, applied in wooden vats. Pajamas were leisure wear, worn for reading or chess, not sleepwear. A 1750 painting by William Hogarth shows a gentleman in loose trousers, dyed beige. European textile laws shaped production. A 1720 British Act banned Indian calico prints, pushing mills to produce plain cotton. Liverpool imported 18,000 cotton bolts yearly by 1760, with 8% for pajamas. Edinburgh tailors added linen linings, sewing 250 pairs monthly. A 1770 guild record notes 60 London tailors specializing in lounge pants using steel needles. Bath shops sold silk pajamas for £3.50, aimed at gentry. By 1795, cotton's affordability made pajamas accessible to clerks, priced at 12 shillings. Dyers in Bristol used indigo vats, producing 500 gallons weekly. The Victorian era, from 1837, redefined pajamas as sleepwear. By the 1870s, men's sleep sets, trousers, and shirts gained popularity. Made of linen, flannel, or cashmere wool, they suited cold English nights. Savile Row tailors offered bespoke sets with silk piping or pearl buttons. An 1878 Harrods catalogue lists flannel pajamas at 10 shillings, cotton at 6 shillings. A 1884, The Times article notes pajamas improved hygiene, reducing infections. Manchester factories employed 7,000 workers by 1880, weaving cotton on steam looms. Flannel was brushed with wire combs, per an 1887 textile guide, adding softness. Victorian women wore nightgowns, cotton or lawn shifts until the 1890s, when pajama sets emerged. These had high necklines and long sleeves, sewn at home. An 1895 butterick pattern sold for 10 pence. Liberty's stocked cotton sets by 1900 at £1.30. A 1899, The Ladies' Journal calls pajamas sensible for winter. Women's sets were plain with minimal lace. Sears catalogues offered women's pajamas for 20 cents by 1910, reflecting mass production. Selfridges sold 12,000 sets yearly, dyed in white or grey. Factories in Leeds wove flannel, producing 9,000 yards daily by 1880. Victorian production was mechanised. Manchester mills used steam looms, weaving 10,000 yards daily by 1875. Dyes like aniline blue created muted tones, mixed in iron vats. Sewing machines, introduced in 1855, stitched 60 pairs daily. John Lewis stores sold 30,000 sets annually by 1900. Health trends drove demand. The Lancet, 1888, endorsed loose sleepwear for circulation. Middle-class households bought cotton sets for 7 shillings, wool for 11 shillings. London tailors produced 18,000 bespoke sets yearly by 1905, using cotton thread from Glasgow. The 20th century made pajamas universal. The 1920s saw women adopt silk sets in pastel shades, cream, peach, mint for lounging. Beach pajamas, wide-legged pants with tunics, were fashionable per a 1927 Vogue ad. Men's pajamas used stripes or paisleys, reflecting Art Deco. Rayon, introduced in 1915, lowered costs. A 1930 Macy's ad lists cotton sets at $1.70, silk at $4.80. New York factories wove 70,000 sets monthly by 1935, using electric looms. Bloomingdale's stocked 15,000 units, with winter sales peaking at 5,000 sets. World War II, from 1939 to 1945, limited fabric to 2 yards per garment, per Britain's 1943 rationing rules. Homemakers sewed pajamas from old sheets, using woman's weekly patterns. Cotton sets were worn in shelters, offering warmth. Post-war, the 1950s suburban boom popularized family sets. A 1958 Sears catalog sold matching cotton pajamas for $3 in plaid or floral. Children's drop seat designs with buttoned flaps were made by Carters, weaving 150,000 units yearly by 1960. Chicago factories used automated cutters, producing 120 pairs per hour. The 1960s brought bold prints, tie-dye, batik, geometrics, reflecting counterculture. Polyester, patented in 1941, dominated by 1970 for durability. A 1974 Kmart ad lists men's polyester sets at $6. The 1980s saw retail growth. Walmart sold 2 million sets annually by 1988, with Hanes offering cartoon-themed children's pajamas. Public wearing sparked debate. A 2012 Louisiana law fined public pajama use $150. Marks & Spencer stocked 25,000 cotton sets per store by 1990, dyed in navy or beige. London specialty shops sold silk sets for £35. The 1990s and 2000s solidified pajamas as loungewear. Target sold 3 million sets yearly by 1996, with cotton blends at $12. Victoria's Secret introduced satin sets, priced at $45 in 2000. Paris stores stocked 12,000 units, with flannel popular in winter. A 1999 Elle article notes pajamas as homeware, worn for TV or reading. Bangladesh factories wove 60,000 tons of cotton yearly by 2005, exporting to Europe. Gap sold children's sets with animal prints, moving 600,000 units annually by 2000. The 2000s saw e-commerce rise. Amazon sold 1 million sets yearly by 2005, with cotton blends at $15. Factories in Vietnam produced 40,000 tons of cotton annually by 2010 using automated looms. Retailers like Nordstrom offered silk sets for $50, dyed in muted tones. A 2008 GQ article notes pajamas as casual essentials. Children's sets with superhero prints sold 700,000 units yearly by 2010 at stores like Kohl's. Specialty brands like Sleepy Jones launched in 2013, selling cotton sets for $60. Today, pajamas blend nightwear and loungewear. Sustainability drives production. Pact harvests 15,000 tons of organic cotton yearly in 2025. Bamboo viscose, grown in Sichuan, China, reduces sweating per a 2024 study. Smart fabrics like Thermocool cut wake-ups by 12% per a 2025 journal. Sets cost $50 to $90 at Everlane or Uniqlo. Japanese yukata sets, cotton-based, are worn for summer festivals. Indian kurta pajamas use khadi, woven on village looms. The sleepwear market hit $30 billion in 2025, with cotton at 50% share. Retail data shows 7 million sets sold monthly in the US. Lunya uses mulberry silk, while H&M sells polyester sets for $20. Antibacterial cotton, introduced in 2022, and moisture-wicking fabrics for athletes are common. Celebrities like Harry Styles, promoting Gucci loungewear in 2025, drive sales. From India's handlooms to modern factories, pajamas remain cozy, functional, timeless, worn nightly worldwide. And so, the history of pajamas concludes, a record of simple cotton threads and quiet comfort spanning centuries. From India's hand-woven pajamas, pajamas, to Victorian flannel sets and modern bamboo loungewear, these garments remain a constant in homes worldwide. Their soft fabrics, dyed in muted tones, offer restful ease, night after night. This long tale of textiles, looms, and trade fades now, as all histories do. If this soothed you, like and subscribe for more. Good night, cozy crew. May your sleep be as cozy as these timeless pajamas.